want you to imagine you're in that world, all right? You're determining where you're going to go, who you're going to see, who you're going to save, kill, and who you're going to help, all right? You are the hero of your own unique story, and the success of your quest depends entirely on you. You have entered the Wayfinder experience. So tonight I'm going to tell you about a summer camp that me and my best friend started 8 years ago. It's a live-action fantasy role-playing camp, and I'm really excited to tell you about it. So we all met at a hippie retreat center as kids, Omega Institute for Holistic Studies. It's up in Rhinebeck, New York. Our parents brought us up there for Family Week, and we met at a workshop called Adventure Game that combined things like mythology, folklore, improv, non-competitive play. And we just fell in love with each other, and we kept in touch. Back in the day, there was no GChat or Facebook. We called each other on our parents' phones until they got on the phone and told us to get off, or we talked on listservs on email, and we stayed best friends. And as the workshop that we did growing up kind of dissolved, we decided that we would start our own camp. So we started it up in upstate New York. We had contacted a farm that rented to us for really, really cheap. And so we had about 7 campers, even though there are a lot of people up in this photo. They're mostly staff. They're mostly our group of friends, about 7 campers. And we had no money, we didn't take money, but we ate a lot of day-old bagels. There was a bakery down the street, and the guys' kids came to our camp, and he loved us. So we ate a lot of day-old bagels. I don't eat them anymore because I ate so many. And again, we didn't get paid. But instead, we pitched for shares at the end of the summer based on sweat equity, what we did over the summer to work. After a few years, we were able to get enough money to rent our own office in Kingston, New York. It was awesome because it was a warehouse where we could keep our masks, our costumes, our foam swords and other foam weapons. And also on the other side, we were able to have computers in an office, so we had a few people working in the office. And we also built a website, which was awesome. This was actually a billboard that we put up on a major highway in upstate New York. Find a hero inside. Many people were very confused. But it was great because parents could go. They didn't think we were freaks. We weren't endorsing war, but instead we were doing cooperative play with kids and expanding their imagination. So as we grew, we expanded our programming. We started doing yoga. We did trust exercises, winter games. We did fire circles where we were dancing. We let kids create their own swords, so they started doing arts and crafts, really claiming more about their character, making their own costuming. And the word got out. People, the Waldorf schools picked us up. They really loved what we were doing. They loved that kids could develop new people that they could be. They didn't have to be who they were. Adolescence, you try to be a punk, you try to be hard, you try to be shy, but it's incredible to be able to be a girl and be a warrior, or be a boy and be able to be a fairy. It's really a beautiful experience. And as we grew, our productions grew, so we actually built a carnival for one of our games at the end of our 3rd summer. It was quite incredible. There were different tents, fire throwers. He's right over there if you want to talk to him afterwards. And as you see, we did a Star Wars game where there was Jabba the Hutt. This was a kind of really scary horror game with evil bugs that went down on climbing ropes. And we did a bioluminescent forest for the kids to walk through. And if they did die in the game, if their character died in the game, they would reincarnate into a new character. But as our company grew, we grew up too. So we were leaving our college towns and our families' homes, and we were going to different cities in the country. So some people went to California and started stuff in Berkeley. Some people went to New York City and started doing stuff at Riverside Park. And some of us, the cool ones, came to Philly, and we started doing stuff in Philly. And one thing is Capture the Flag. It actually started at the Art Museum. It was a great way, it was a promotional tool for us, for kids in Philadelphia to come together, to play together, to use their imaginations, and to also publicize our camp in upstate New York. So hey, you like this? Come on upstate, and you can even do more. So we also started doing games in Mount Airy. We had connections with a church out there who let us, again, use their space for really, really cheap. It was always about, the community really held us. They really put out a hand and supported us. And without these freebies, I don't know if we'd be what we are today. And then we moved to Clark Park. Some of us moved out to West Philly, and we saw how progressive the parents were, how there was so much green space for kids to run around. And between the farmer's market and the fact that there was a coffee shop right there, people just saw us. And kids started coming. And kids who lived next door to other kids but didn't know them because everybody goes to different schools got to meet their neighbors and play. But, you know, there were other groups in the park at the time, right? So the farmer's market wasn't too pleased. The volleyballers, I mean, we got in their way. They weren't very happy. They ended up moving their time. But they're cool now. But the drummers were all about us. And they played epic drums all week. Epic drums. And they are partners. We love them. And as people saw us, the media started catching on around here. My favorite article was getting medieval on your grass. You can't see it there, but I thought that was brilliant. This is an article written about us in Philadelphia Weekly. So this is a picture from the farm in upstate. Those were some of our first campers, and now they are our staff. They're on our boards. They're deciding who is working our camps in the summer. They're in Philadelphia, figuring out new things for the future. They are our future, and it's beautiful to hand our company over to them. And for us old heads who started the company, we're still the board of directors. We're shareholders in the company. We still daydream. We're still best friends. And when we fight, and trust me, we do, we just take it out on the field and have a big battle, good versus evil. But it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so happy to have shared the story with you briefly. And we love to talk about what we do. So feel free. There's some of my colleagues up here in the front. Come and talk to us.